I always believed that when things got hard, really hard, your family would show up. That no matter what differences or disagreements you'd had, when your health was at stake, the people who raised you would step up without question. I held on to that belief like a life raft when the doctor told me I needed surgery. It wasn't optional. My autoimmune condition had flared up after months of manageable symptoms. Now, every day was agony. Joints inflamed, chronic fatigue took over my body like a parasite, and walking up the stairs felt like climbing a mountain. The specialists said the sooner we operated, the better my chances of preserving mobility. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. So I gathered the courage, made a binder of medical notes, payment plans, everything. I went to my parents' house one Sunday afternoon and sat them down in the living room. I expected concern, maybe tears, maybe an immediate hug, or we'll figure this out together. But the silence was sharp. My mom adjusted a cushion. My dad looked at his phone. My younger sister, Camille, was in the kitchen baby-talking her Pomeranian, Muffin, as if nothing outside that furball existed. I swallowed hard and started explaining how much the surgery would cost, how insurance would cover part, but I still needed help, mainly a cosigner and some support during recovery. My voice cracked halfway through, but I powered through it. When I finished, my dad said, "That's a lot of money, sweetheart. These kinds of things, they add up." My mom added, "It's not that we don't care, we do, but we've had to make some financial decisions lately. We're still helping Camille settle into her new place and Muffin's insurance just went through." Camille chimed in from the kitchen like it was a proud achievement. I blinked. "Muffin's what?" Camille appeared, holding the dog like a baby. "Health insurance. She's officially part of the family plan now. Isn't that cute?" I looked at my parents, waiting for one of them to explain, to laugh and say it was a joke, but they just looked away. "You added a dog to your insurance but won't help your daughter get a necessary surgery?" I said, my voice low, tight. "Muffin's an emotional support animal," Mom said gently. "Camille's been having panic attacks and this little one helps her cope." "She helps me breathe," Camille said defensively. "I literally can't function without her." I stood up, shaking. "And what about me? I'm barely functioning either. But I guess I'm not cute enough to cuddle or post on Instagram." They told me I was being dramatic, that I needed to understand how tight things were, that Camille was in a delicate place emotionally, that Muffin's coverage didn't even cost that much. Every excuse made the betrayal sharper. I walked out. I didn't yell. I didn't cry in front of them. But something broke inside me that day, something that would never quite heal. They didn't call to check on me that night, or the next day, or the next week. I was alone, really, truly alone. I stayed quiet, focused on trying to find other ways to make this surgery happen. I reached out to a few friends, tried looking into medical loans, even started a quiet fundraiser online, hoping pride wouldn't keep me from getting the help my parents refused to give. But the bitterness festered, because every time I logged onto social media, there was Muffin, at the vet for a checkup, getting doggy dental work, wearing little booties in the snow. My family had prioritized a dog's comfort over my well-being, and the world needed to know, not just for me, but for every person who's been treated as less than human by the people who were supposed to protect them. That's when the idea started to grow. I didn't just want to recover, I wanted to reclaim my voice, and what came next would change everything. The silence after my surgery was deafening. I came home to an empty apartment, the chill of early spring settling in like a second skin. There were no calls, no texts, no knock on the door with home-cooked soup or a simple, "How are you holding up?" I didn't even get flowers from my own mother, the woman who used to press cool cloths against my forehead when I had a childhood fever. That mother, it seemed, didn't exist anymore. Not for me. The physical pain from the procedure was excruciating, yes, but it paled in comparison to the emotional wreckage I was sorting through. I had begged my parents for help, not just financially, but emotionally too. I'd told them, openly, honestly, that I was terrified, that I needed them. They gave me nothing, but they had something for Muffin. While I recovered, Camille posted Instagram stories of Muffin getting a full-body dog massage paid for by our family health insurance under stress therapy. I stared at that screen, jaw slack. I zoomed in on the form she posted proudly, her insurance provider's name in the corner. Our shared provider. The same one that had denied part of my surgical claim because I wasn't on the premium tier. Muffin was on the premium tier. My sister's dog had better coverage than I did. I decided then, if I meant nothing to them, they didn't deserve to know me anymore. But I didn't go quiet. I wrote a blog post. Not dramatic, not angry, just honest. I laid out the facts. The surgery, the denial, the insurance, the dog. The complete emotional abandonment. I posted it with no intention beyond release, but it spread like wildfire. Comments flooded in, and the story was shared thousands of times. People told me I was brave, that they felt seen, that family betrayal like mine was more common than anyone admitted. It caught the attention of a journalist from a major online women's magazine. She reached out to interview me, and suddenly my quiet heartbreak became a headline, "Ignored for a Dog." One woman's story of medical neglect and family betrayal. Within 2 weeks, I was offered a segment on a national talk show. They flew me out, styled me, sat me in a chair across from a host I'd grown up watching. She held my hand as I cried on air, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming sense of finally being heard. When that episode aired, my phone exploded. Camille texted first. "Are you kidding me? You're making our family look like monsters to the world?" Then my mother. "You've embarrassed us. What were you thinking?" And my father, in a rare moment of honesty. "We didn't know how bad it really was. Camille said you had it covered." Camille, again. Camille had been filtering my pain for them for years, spinning everything to protect her golden girl image. I finally saw it. Every time I'd cried for help, she'd translated it into an overreaction. Every plea had gone through her filter before it reached my parents. She'd turned me into a liability, a problem to be dismissed. So I confronted them. Not on the phone, not through a message. I invited them to my apartment, told them I had something to show them. They arrived stiffly, unsure. My mother with a new handbag. My father already weary. Camille didn't come. I led them inside where I had set up a gallery of everything they had missed. Photos of me during surgery prep, copies of denial letters, screenshots of Camille's pet spa posts. I lit candles. I played the voicemail I left crying weeks earlier, the one they never returned. Then I sat across from them and said nothing. My mother broke down first. She clutched her face and sobbed, "I didn't know it was this bad." My father simply stared and finally whispered, "We failed you." I nodded. "You did, and you didn't even try not to." I gave them 2 choices. They could pretend none of this happened and continue favoring Camille and Muffin, or they could earn a place back in my life. Slowly, genuinely, without conditions. They chose the second, but I didn't welcome them with open arms. I set rules, boundaries, weekly therapy as a family, no more blind favoritism, no more Camille as the go-between. I wasn't a child begging for scraps anymore. I was a woman demanding respect. Months passed, and slowly, painfully, the shape of our family began to change. They showed up to my therapy. They listened. They even confronted Camille, who promptly exploded and cut them off for taking my side. But they stayed. They apologized to me, to my friends who had helped me through recovery, to the medical staff I'd leaned on when they weren't there. Then, the strangest thing happened. Muffin got sick. Pancreatitis. It was treatable, but expensive. Camille begged my parents to cover the cost. They said no. "We used to confuse loyalty with love," my mother told her. "Now we know better." Camille cut them off entirely. It hurt, of course it did. But I watched my parents choose me. Not the golden child, not the easy route. Me. And it didn't fix everything. The pain of what they had done would always be there. But healing isn't about erasing the scars. It's about learning to live without flinching when you touch them. I still have that denial letter from my insurance company. I framed it, not as a reminder of pain, but of power. because when my family failed me, I stood up anyway. I'm not who I was before the surgery. I'm stronger, clearer, whole in a way that has nothing to do with my body and everything to do with knowing my worth. Muffin still has more Instagram followers than me, but I've got something she never will, a story of survival and the strength to never be anyone's second choice again.